everyone. My name is Amy Jenkins. I'm the COO of Education Elements. I'm excited to be here today. Last week, just around this time, I was in Alaska, where there was a moose in between me and the workshop I was trying to get to. And today it was just a lot of blue blazers. So thank you for that. Our mission at Education Elements is to build and support dynamic school systems. We really think about how do we engage students today and help them achieve today and prepare them for tomorrow. We've been around for 8 years, and so we've had an evolution that's helped us come to this point in time. We really think there's the ability to have big impact in education through supporting school districts. Expenditures have been on the rise, $68 billion in purchase services, and yet outcomes have mostly been stagnant. There's 54 million students in the US. You guys all know the facts. We're not reaching all of them. I saw that firsthand when I was a middle school teacher a long time ago, and it's a lot of what's influenced me and everyone in our organization to come in and to make change. The thing is, we've uncovered that there are systemic issues that actually get in the way of solving problems. So when districts come to work with us, they normally cite one of three things. We have an achievement gap, we need to realize a return on our investments, especially in technology, or we need to have our students to be better engaged. But what we actually see when we're looking at them is, yes, you have all of those challenges, but also you need support in how to think about your teams, how to have better implementations, how to help with your talent pool. So there's a whole set of issues and challenges that we need to help them with so that they can also do this other piece. So we're working across all of those. In the end, we've figured out that districts really need coaches as much as anything else, and we've been able to fill that role for them. We've done more school designs, especially around student-centered learning, than anyone else in the country. We help people to close communication gaps. We help them to track their progress on their projects. And we're lifelong learners. The majority of our team has a background like me. They spent time in the classroom as well as time outside of the classroom, building a set of life experiences that help us to support school systems and support leaders specifically. The districts we support see real results. That graph on the side, that's using the MAP, the NWA test. That's one district and what happened year over year. There's a lot of hesitation in the market and a fear that maybe you get one bump in your scores and your achievement rises. But this is every year that they've been personalizing learning, they've seen an increase in their scores. Personally, I'm proud of that, but also the fact that districts consider us trusted advisors. So as we've thought about our work has evolved a lot from 2010 when we were in one single charter school to now we're supporting over 130 districts in 34 states. And part of how that's happened is because there's word of mouth, because we meet people, because the need has been growing, but also because we've evolved the way that we support school districts. There are districts who we started out doing one thing, who we continue to work with. They thought it would be 2 years, they thought it would be 3 years, and then they decide to keep us around and help them with something else. There's a lot of different ways that districts partner with us. There's our consulting services, which I've talked about a lot. There's some technology, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then also by thought leadership, just helping people get resources that they need. Our consulting services are rooted in a proven methodology. So when we work with the district, we take them through these 4 phases. We think about plan and align, foundations, that design and launch, we really think about as one phase, and then support, reflect, and iterate. And each district is gonna go through this with a different cadence. And they're gonna stop longer in certain phases, and they're gonna approach the work differently. When we work with a large school district, it's often in phases. Fulton County Schools in Georgia, for example, 100 schools, they did that in 5 waves of schools. But every time we're stepping them through a methodology that we know works. That's a picture of our framework, which one of the first things we do to help people understand where they are and where they need to support is give them a bunch of Skittles or M&Ms, and you put the red ones on the areas where you need support and the green ones where you have help. And then you get leaders together and they see their boards look really different. They also see that they're hungry and start eating them, so we take pictures right away. But the idea is to help people really figure out what help they need, and then we can customize all of our support. The other little, origami thing, the clover over there, is the core for personalized learning. People ask a lot, what does it look like? And we think that these 4 components are there, and it turns out to be a really useful frame of reference for school districts. I can see a Texas superintendent who put that up over his desk. I honestly would have mailed him a copy, but he blew it up on his own. And we've got these services which we've been developing over time, but we also have a technology behind them. So we just recently launched OnPoint. It's like a credit score for personalized learning. You can see where you are in terms of your implementation, benchmarked against hundreds of schools and districts across the country. And when you get that report, you see where you are, and you also have recommendations for what you can do as a district to move forward. It's a really great way for people to track progress over time. It's also a really great way for them to go to their board and make a case for investment. We have Touchpoint, which is our project management tool. So I mentioned earlier some of the systemic issues, and one of them is staying on time and on track, and a superintendent or a leader being able to look across all of their schools and know what's going on. Touchpoint does that. It puts all the resources in one place rather than in a bunch of emails. So if someone new comes to the team, you can quickly onboard them. And like I mentioned, our content expands our reach and our influence. We kind of play bigger than we are. We look like we have a bigger team than we actually do. And we just recently, in the past few years, Anthony Kim, our CEO, really put out 2 books. One was a personalized learning playbook. It's kind of a guide to how do you do personalized learning. And then the New School Rules is on sale in the bookstore, if you'd like to go check it out. But it's really changing conversations and thinking about how do districts organize to do their work. We've got a big summit. It's coming up in 2 weeks. It's amazing. 750 leaders all thinking about student-centered learning. It's sold out. I can be bribed if you want to come and find me at the end of the presentation. And we're not done yet. For a long time, our addressable market as a company has been districts who can pay for consulting services. And we recently launched a personalized learning design and launch toolkit. It's the DIY version. It's run through Touchpoint, and it helps districts do everything we would do without us being there. And it's really extended our ability to impact more and more districts without having to constantly increase our team. So we've got this launch kit, and over time, we plan to keep developing more around curriculum strategy, around competency-based education, coaching. There's a lot more that we can do. We're forming all these really powerful partnerships now with leading organizations. Those are technology providers, associations, starting to do some international work, because there's those 54 million students, and we think over time we're going to be able to reach all of them. Thank you.